Today, I'm so excited to introduce you to someone I've been kind of like quietly following on Instagram for a while now, and that is Celie, the creator behind Safe Disney Food. She is a mom who lives down in Florida and local to Disney World, and she has built, I think, one of the most thoughtful and thorough corners of the internet, specifically families who are dealing with food allergies at Disney World. And what I love most about her is, even though I haven't personally dealt with this, we still have very much in common when it comes to planning ahead of time. And the reasoning behind it is just to feel confident enough that you can actually enjoy your vacation with your kids in Disney World once you're there. Disney World is a lot to plan just on its own. And then when you add this other layer of food allergies, I really wanted to talk to her about this because honestly, it's something that I don't know a lot about. And I know this episode is just going to be so helpful for anyone, whether you have one food allergy or 10 food allergies. If you're going down to Disney World, you have to give this episode a listen. So today we're diving into a little bit of everything from how Disney handles allergy meals, the emotional side of dealing with this, and what a lot of the different terminology means when it comes to allergies in Disney World. I know you're going to walk away feeling very prepared after listening to this episode. So let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to the Laid Back Magic Way podcast. I'm your host, Dana Stanley, creator of Laid Back Magic. As a mom of 3, I know how tough it can be to find time to plan a Disney World trip that doesn't leave you feeling stressed or overwhelmed. That's why I'm here, to help moms like you create Disney vacations that feel even better than they look on paper. Here, we're not chasing perfection, but creating our next favorite memories. So whether you're brand new to Disney or looking to go deeper into the details, this podcast is your go-to for simple tips, mindset shifts, real-life trip recaps, and expert insights to make your trip magical and manageable. New episodes drop every Monday, so be sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment. Okay, let's dive in. So to get into it, Celie, welcome to the Laid Back Magic Way podcast. I wanted to ask you, what made you start Safe Disney Food? Like, is that something that happened organically? Was there something that spurred it all on? I would love to hear more about that.
My oldest kid, who has food allergies, several of my kids have food allergies. In 2015, I thought the world was ending. Like, I didn't know how to handle food allergies. There wasn't as much awareness as there is now. There was this Facebook group, and it was like something like Disney chefs rock food allergies. And there was a person in that group who called herself the Queen, and she would go and like find all the ingredients that you couldn't find, right? Because nobody was doing what I was doing at the time. And I thought that was so cool, but it was still very limited. Like, I still had to do a lot of research when I went to the parks. And in 2018, so at that point, I had 2 allergy kids, and my mother-in-law was a full-time wheelchair user. We had planned a trip in the spring, and we postponed it because we were worried. We were like, how do we do this with food allergies and a wheelchair? And we postponed it 4 times, and then she died. And she died November 5th.
Aw.
Yeah. And by Thanksgiving, I totally involved. I was fully enmeshed in the food allergy world. And I said, I missed my chance. And I'm not going to miss any more chances with my kids. And I'm not going to let anybody else miss their chances. And I just never stopped.
Wow. I'm so sorry. I think about that a lot. I mean, me and my husband say this all the time of like every Disney trip with the family, like our in-laws, it's like, you just don't know. I'll get emotional, but you don't know when it'll be the last time. And I never want to sound like, oh, just take the trip in the sense of like, just put it on a credit card and like worry about it later. I just mean, if it's something you really want to do, don't wait. And that is so cool.
Yeah, make it a priority.
Yes, make it a priority, figure it out. And it's so cool that you created this and made it just so much easier. I remember like that 2015 website, like internet era, because that was around the time I was researching to bring a baby to Disney World. And there just wasn't a lot like there is now, which is like a blessing and a curse.
No, very little.
So I can't imagine we kind of chatted before the episode of like, you need very important information not to be dramatic, but like life-saving information when it comes to allergies versus just maybe trivial things of where to find a character or how to not wait in line. Like, I think it's just very important. And I really wanted to chat with you because I don't have a lot of firsthand knowledge of this. And I know a lot of my Laid Back Magic members ask me about this. So I think this is going to be just an awesome episode to point people to, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Do you feel like Disney World, or maybe like we could even expand to Disney in general? I'm obviously like a Disney World girly, but do you feel like they handle allergies better or worse than other places you have visited in the world?
So let me set the stage for maybe somebody who's new to food allergies. When you go to your hometown restaurant and you say, hey, I have an allergy request, a lot of times they kind of like look at you funny, or they blow you off, or the chef comes out after 10 minutes and says, yeah, we can do like salad with chicken. And you've got, your 4-year-old who wants chicken tenders. And it's very hard. And it can be very confusing to navigate. So when you go to Disney, it's different because they have procedures in place. They have training in place. They have, allergy options that they store and that they curate because they're constantly changing to, better fit the allergy community. And that's something you don't find everywhere. Now, I think that there's an important distinction between Disneyland and Disney World. Disney World is far superior to food allergies because they have the space. Whereas when I've gone to Disneyland in the past and I've talked to them, they say that they struggle because their kitchens are so small because of like how it was designed back when it was first built versus Disney World has so much more space to store the extra allergy food.
And they learn as they go, I'm sure. Like as they start expanding, they're like, oh, we need like 2 kitchens.
Right. Yeah. So Walt Disney World is the more improved version. And so you can find options at Disneyland. I never starved when I've gone, but it's nowhere comparable to how Disney World has so many modifications and so many options. Like you're overwhelmed at Disney World in a good way. You're underwhelmed at Disneyland in a not so good way.
Okay. That's good to know. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that because I know Disneyland has like not a lot more food offerings, but the food I think is just a little bit better in Disneyland, but I never thought of that in terms of allergies. Can you tell me what food allergies you and your kids have, or like what are the big ones that you're always looking out for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for somebody who's not familiar, the top 9 is wheat, egg, soy, dairy, peanut, tree nut, fish, shellfish, and then into 2024 they added sesame. So my kids at one time were top 14 free, then they moved to top 9 free. So we were avoiding all top 9. I currently avoid for celiac with gluten wheat, and then I have a soy protein and a pineapple allergy that's anaphylactic. And then my kids have various allergies, including some outside of the most common, like things like annatto that they can't have because of the illness called FPIES. So we manage celiac, FPIES, and anaphylaxis.
Okay. I feel like those are all good things to know just if someone's listening and wants to wrap their mind around, because I'm sure there's people in your shoes. I know that like when I go to Disney World, I know not even from having talked to you or anybody else that Disney World is good with allergies, because when I, a non-allergy person, sit down at any restaurant, the first thing I'm asked after like, hello, can I get your drink order, is, does anyone have allergies? And I've noticed that more and more. I can't really say that I remember being asked that much, like maybe even like 10 years ago, whereas now it is just like a standard. And they'll ask me multiple times too, where I'm like, no, like you're good. Like there's no allergies. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, I think so. I don't think we have. You're making me nervous. I know we touched on that Disney World has a good reputation for that, but what does that mean? Like what makes Disney World good with allergies? I know we talked about the kitchens and the procedures. How does that look like from like the time you sit down to the time you get your food?
You brought up a really great point. So what makes Disney good with food allergies is that they're constantly testing things and changing. So one of the things they've been testing in October and November is they aren't asking at the table now if you have food allergies at some locations. Again, I think that's a test that they're trying to see, like, are we missing people? Are we catching people? And because I go to the parks weekly, I'm constantly finding all these little tests and things that they're doing. I mean, they have a full test kitchen where they test allergy products. They're constantly updating their menus. Because a lot of people, they might have like 2 or more allergies. So for example, wheat and egg or wheat and dairy. And it can be hard to find something that matches those needs. And what Disney has really done is find products like a burger bun and a pizza crust that covers all top 9 allergens. So that way, no matter what combination you have, you're able to enjoy that. And I think that's really cool and not something that a lot of people do. Like they might focus more on like being dairy free or being wheat free. And Disney's like, no, we'll cover all top 9 and gluten. So that way, whatever combination you have, you're able to enjoy it. When you're sitting down at a sit down restaurant, you can talk to a trained allergy cast member. You can typically ask for them from the server. Sometimes your server is the trained allergy cast member because it's a certificate that people at Disney World cast members can get. And they've been very encouraged to get it. Yeah. So the more, I was talking to somebody 2 days ago about how they had just finished their certification. We were at Cosmic Race, and she was very excited. She's like, I've been here 4 years. Disney wants to see you get that certification. And I think that's fantastic because the more people that are aware of it, the less time we have to wait when we're ordering and the better the procedures are because there's a lot.
They don't have to go find somebody. They can just handle
and
it.
there's less worry because if the server is not trained, they might grab a tray versus if the server is trained, they know to wait. Like, let's let the chef bring it out. Let's reduce the risk of cross contact or delivering this to the wrong table. It just flows better because of the training that Disney has implemented. Disney changed. So 2 years ago, they stopped saying chef and they started saying trained cast member. So you could go to a sit down restaurant and never speak to a chef, but still get all of your information that you need because you're talking to somebody who's trained, who has the ingredients, who knows how it's made. You can ask about shared fryers and equipment versus, at a lot of other places, you might not find anybody who's aware of the information. They might have to go play, phone tag with somebody and call and say, how do we make this? Which is very concerning. So I like that Disney streamlines the process.
I saw on your Instagram, and I don't know if this is the same thing, but when you're talking to a trained cast member, is that considered a consult? Or is it like a certain terminology that you have to say to someone like, I would like a consult? And is that something that someone should do?
Right. So Disney has this really cool thing. So let's back up real quick. Disney has a special diets department. And if you have 4 or more allergies in the top 9, or any allergies outside the top 9, you can contact them and get a lot of really good information for sit-down restaurants, including possibly special ordering desserts or items from other restaurants around the parks, depending on how many days you're there. Like they really walk you through it.
And you do that ahead of time. Like you can call before your trip.
So somewhere around 2 weeks before your trip. If you only have 1 or 2 allergies, you get really mixed reviews. They're not quite as helpful. They also don't do snacks. So I share a lot of snack information because people need that. So the special diets department has all this paperwork and procedures, and that has bled into what is called a consult. And a consult is this little notebook that's like this carbon copy of a couple sheets of paper. And whoever you're talking to, your trained cast member, will fill out your name, the date, their name, your allergies, what you ordered, and they're going to keep that. They're going to keep that for several months because that's part of their paperwork. So if you have questions about how it's made, how fryers are done, what equipment, if the product was, made on shared lines, whatever, that's a consult. And you're saying, hey, I have extra questions. If you decline the consult, you're saying, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm just taking this at face value and I accept the risk. And so one of the things that I really love to educate people on is to always accept the consult, because if there was an issue, you would be able to have a legal paper trail that said that you did your due diligence.
Yeah, I feel like you should always get that. Because I think I saw on your receipt, it marks it too.
Yes, it does.
That you've had a consult.
Yes. And so I've gone back in the past, especially with my kids. It just says decline consult. I will say, hey, we actually had a consult, and I have a kid with severe food allergies, and I want to make sure that the, record is correct in case something were to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen. But I mean, unfortunately, there have been instances of, people getting their allergens at Disney. And I think it would just be, especially in the position that I'm in, it would be irresponsible to not accept the consult when I know the risk.
Well, and your pineapple allergy makes me a little nervous. Your anaphylactic pineapple allergy.
Me too.
I'm like, please get the consult.
It's funny because I still eat at the Polynesian resort, even though there's a lot of pineapple there, because the chefs, they're wonderful. It's so freeing, like the reduced mental load to just know that you can eat somewhere without concern.
Enjoy your food.
Yeah.
Well, so you love the Polynesian. I love the Polynesian and all their food too. Have you eaten at the new Wailulu Grill
Yes,
at the new
multiple times.
tower?
Yeah.
Was it delicious? Did you love it?
It was. I think they have the best gluten-free chocolate cake on property.
Oh, good to know. I feel like that's like a little bit of a hack. What are some of your other like favorite? I mean, I'm not going to get into like all your favorite snacks and things, but if you had to pick kind of like a general, like a park or maybe a resort that has the most accommodating food or like a lot of the food that you like, what would you pick? What's your favorite?
Ooh, I think I'd go with a resort, and I'd go with Port Orleans Resort because they have the beignets. They have a table service restaurant. They have two quick service restaurants. They have a lounge or two lounges that can serve you allergy food. It's easy.
Oh, I would not have expected you to say that. I was going to guess like Animal Kingdom area just because I feel like there's a lot of like Asian inspired things. So they kind of lend themselves to be more gluten free, I feel like. I don't know if you find the same thing.
So
I love Animal Kingdom food.
all of the Disney resorts have food allergy options for gluten-free in top nine. I like the Animal Kingdom areas, especially Animal Kingdom Lodge. But like if I'm with my kids, it's definitely Port Orleans because there's just so much to eat and there's so many modifications. You know, they have a top 90 gluten-free cupcake. Yeah, like they have desserts, they have ice cream, they have beignets. It's enjoyable.
Okay, that's good to know. And I want to try that chocolate cake because I shouldn't be eating gluten.
Yeah.
So if it's gluten free, that's just like bonus points for me. I saw that you were at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party like maybe 2 days ago, and it got my wheels turning about allergies at these parties because, I mean, it's based a lot around snacks. Like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, you're trick-or-treating, and then the Christmas party, they're doing free cookies and hot chocolate. What does that look like when you have food allergies?
Yeah, so in my mind, I split Disney into like two parts. I split Disney into like the everyday parks and snacks and sit-down restaurants, and then I split it into special occasions. So the parties and the festivals and the dessert parties that you can do at Magic Kingdom, those all fall under that special occasion umbrella, which can be trickier, right? So at the Halloween party, they have two allergy trick-or-treat stations. They have a wide selection of candy that is top nine free and no gluten. So of course, no dairy, no soy, no egg, no nuts, and also dye-free option. And then at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, at each of the cookie stops, they have allergy cookie option. And those cover, again, the top nine and gluten. Now, the drinks get a little sticky because some of them have dairy, some of them eggs, some of them soy. And so, of course, you're constantly having to ask. And so when I go to the parties, I spend the whole party time the party starts at 7, but I can start around 6 asking at food till midnight, just canvassing. I go to every location and check all of the exclusive party options because Disney doesn't have an allergy list for that. But Disney does have an allergy list for the
Yeah,
Epcot.
that seems crazy.
It does. Well, they have a list for the Epcot festivals. So I've always kind of wondered when are we getting a list for the holiday parties? Knock on wood, that'll happen soon. I spend the whole time canvassing. I get the list, I compile it, I share it with my audience because you want to enjoy the party options. And they always have a couple of allergy options that include the top nine and also, something that would be like gluten free or dairy free or soy free or nut free. And then also like I was just doing yesterday gingerbread cookies at the Contemporary. And we have 3 options there that are gluten free. One is top nine free, so no dairy, eggs, soy, nuts. And so you can go to those things and still participate, with your family who might be able to eat the common items.
That's so good to know. And I want everyone to know that on your Instagram, you have a highlight saved because I was going through that too from Mickey's Christmas Party. And I learned so much just from going through the highlight. It was such, no, she's really great with like documenting everything. With the Halloween party, do you feel like can the kids get as much candy as they want of the allergy-free candy just as much as the other trick-or-treat stations?
Yes, to a degree. So I find that if I go 2 times at the end of the night, or if I go 4 times throughout the party, I end up with about the same amount of candy. And it's a full bag, a little bit spilling over. Some people really game the system with the regular lines and they can, leave with a full backpack. But I mean, they're missing out on everything else. They're missing out on the parades and the shows. And so, yes, I would say for the average person, the allergy experience is going to be exactly the same.
Okay. For someone who's not trying to be like crazy. and like just go for the candy.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, if you're trying, and I feel like I get my money's worth because the allergy candy is always more expensive, like when you're shopping at Target or Sprouts.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
so I come home with the giant bag, and then that's, we do the Switch Witch, and that's what my kids get for their Halloween.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because when you think about, they are probably like twice the cost of like the brands of the other candy, of just like the M&Ms, Mars, whatever brand. So that's great.
Yeah.
I would assume that, at least for me, when I imagine it, because we mobile order a lot, I think we do a good mix of quick service and sit downs. And I feel like a sit down restaurant, I would feel more comfortable because I can talk to someone, versus a quick service, 9 times out of 10, I'm mobile ordering. Like, how does that work if you have a food allergy? Am I better off just getting in line so I can talk to someone, or does it kind of depend on like how severe the allergies are?
That's a really good question. And it is nuanced. So it's going to come down to how many allergies someone is managing. So I like both sit down and sit down, the table service and the quick service option. When you do mobile ordering, there's only an option for one allergy. So I have gluten and soy. So I can only pick gluten or soy. I can't pick both. There's no combination. So what I like to do is I like to just do gluten. I like to pay for it. And instead of clicking I'm here, I walk up to the mobile order counter, say, hey, I have an allergy order. I just wanted to confirm before I press I'm here. Somebody comes out, we make sure it is free for gluten and soy and pineapple. And then I'll press I'm here and they'll still make it. So yeah, mobile ordering is still an option. And most of the mobile order places have a food allergy menu, because not all quick service have a food allergy menu, but all table service that is owned by Disney, because there's several at Epcot that are not. All of those owned by Disney have a food allergy menu.
All right. So that's good to know. And for anyone who's listening that hasn't done mobile order before, there's kind of like 2 steps. Like you place your order, as in like you buy it and put it in the cart. And then when you get to the quick service location, there's a little button that says I'm here. And that's when they're actively making it. And of course, I don't wait until I'm there. I usually do it on the way. But for a food allergy, it sounds like you should wait until you get there, acknowledge and confirm before hitting the like make my food button. That's really good to know.
Yes. If you have more than one, if you just have one, like if you're just dairy free, mobile ordering is a great option and I would recommend it.
I want to ask you, if someone wants to be more flexible with their food, and this is overwhelming, imagine like food allergies, do you have any advice? I know it sounds like just the fact that you're in Disney World is going to take a lot, like you said, the mental load off. Is there anything that you do as like just another layer of laid backness? Like, do you pack your own snacks? Do you eat at the resort? You're local, so I know it's a little different. But if you were doing like a staycation, are there any little things that you would do just to kind of have a little bit of a parachute?
Yeah, we always bring food. We like to do staycations because it's, one of the places where my kids can be kids and not have to worry about food allergies. And always bring snacks, because you never know. You could be, okay, I want to go to this restaurant and there's a huge line, or I want to go here and, I'm getting a really bad vibe. And snacks are definitely the parachute. You need to know what locations have allergy menus. So not all quick service have allergy menus. So we'll take Magic Kingdom, for example. We've got Pico's Bills, we've got Columbia Harbor House, Pinocchio Haas, Cosmic Ray, and then Casey's. So those 5 locations have an allergy menu. Casey's has like a half menu because they can't do some things because they're a smaller restaurant. But then you look at the other technical quick serves that don't have an allergy menu. So that's like the Lunching Pad, Storybook Treats, Friar's Nook. They don't have an allergy menu. They only have a binder, and it can be hard to talk to someone there. You're going to be waiting longer. But if you know which locations have a food allergy menu, it's easier to kind of, blend them into your day as you're moving along and kind of not over planning your trip. Versus if you don't know, a lot of people at Disney, if you ask the cast members, they are also not going to know which locations have food allergy menus. They'll direct you to the app and you can look, but that's an extra level. So, 5-10 minutes of your time before you go to make sure that you know which locations have an allergy menu can make a big difference.
And I'm not trying to do like a plug right now, but is this all in your gluten-free guide?
Yeah.
Or on your website?
And I have a food allergy guide, so I have them separate. So I have a gluten-free guide and then separately a top 9 food allergy guide for wheat, dairy, eggs, soy, nuts, and sesame. And yeah, and I put that all in there. Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. I feel like she has this information somewhere. So it sounds like the top 9, it's 2 separate guides, top 9, and then also gluten-free.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's awesome. I'm like, let's link in the show notes for the guides.
Trying to make this as easy as possible.
Yes, I love that. I'm a big fan of guides of any kind. I remembered what I was going to ask you. When we were talking about mobile ordering, it occurred to me about buffets. Is that not to like totally make this like a 3-hour long episode, but I'm assuming that's almost like a whole other bucket, right? When it comes to food allergies and protocols. Do you find it better, worse, easier, the same?
It's so funny because buffets really come down to the chef. So when you go to a buffet, of course, you can select your allergies beforehand on your reservation. They give you this little piece of paper that has all the items on the buffet and all of their allergens. And they kind of direct you to like walk around and use your little paper guide and, grab the items. But cross contact, which is sometimes people refer to as cross contamination, can happen with something as small as a piece of glitter. So if there are other people at the buffet line and they've mixed spoons around or their kid has touched something, that's a risk for cross contact. So I always like to write down all the things that I'm interested in and then ask the chef to grab the items from the back. And I'd say like 1 out of 20 times, because I've eaten at Disney thousands of times, but I'd say like 1 out of 20 times at a buffet, I have a little bit of an issue. And if I had to pinpoint one thing that people had the most issue with at Disney, it would be buffets.
Okay. So if you asked, I want the mac and cheese and the chicken and the blah, blah, blah from the buffet, they can just give you like a big full plate from the back?
Yes. And more importantly, they have a lot of secret menu items, which is a whole other thing. And one thing I really like to cover on social media as I find them. There's a lot of things that Disney has available to them or at an adjacent restaurant, that's 20 steps away that they don't advertise. But if you talk to a chef and you say, hey, these are my allergens, I'd really like, I don't know, dessert or bread rolls, oftentimes they can find those things for you.
That's awesome. I was like, I want a plate from the back. It's probably fresh, like fresher and less like picked at and gross.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on the buffet, but most of the buffets are good. But that makes sense to me that would be the hardest because you have, like you said, like so many people and the food it's all next to each other. And then you have all the different tongs and spoons and things making a mess. So that makes total sense. You had mentioned that you do staycations in Disney because it's like one of the places that your kids can be kids and you don't have to worry and they can kind of feel like other kids or they don't have to stress about that. What would you say to families who are going to Disney with kids with allergies? Like how to kind of not let that be the center of attention? Do you have any advice? And so that they can feel the magic as much as possible.
Knowing your snacks ahead of time and kind of planning those out. Because then you can kind of, especially if you have other children who don't have food allergies, it's kind of more comparable or that you can like split up or you can explain to your food allergy child, like this is something you can't have, but we're going to get this thing in, 30 minutes. I find that really is very helpful to kind of set expectations. But expectations come from you kind of being aware of what the options are. While there is a mental load to food allergies, it's almost more beneficial to, spend 20, 30 minutes looking ahead of time and kind of making a list of 5 snacks and packing your own snacks. So that way it's more manageable and it's less stress. And the other thing too is that all of the Disney owned resorts, so minus like Shades of Green and then the Coronado Quick Serve, they're all owned by Disney. So they have allergy menus. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner options. They have snack options. And, go check them out when you first get there. And so that way, right off the bat, if you need to place an order from Amazon or Instacart, so that way you have stuff at the hotel. And then also when you're at the parks, I always try to emphasize that we're there for Mickey. We're there for rides. We're there for fun. And when they do get kind of discouraged about food, I just remind them like, hey, I get it, but I didn't want you to stay at home. I want you to come with us. I want you to hang out. And so this is what we're going to do. And these are the snacks I've brought. And, just setting appropriate expectations is very helpful.
Yeah, I really like that. And remind them like why you're actually there.
Yeah, we're here for memories.
Yeah. I didn't even think about having an allergy kid with a non-allergy kid. Is there something that you kind of mentioned that you say like you can't have this, but we're getting this in 30 minutes. Is it ever an issue so do you have one kid that doesn't have any allergies or did I make that up?
Now, yeah, now she's grown out of allergies. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Is that ever like, does she ever get bummed out or whiny about like maybe she wants something that, or a place she wants to go that isn't conducive to the rest of the family? Or were you just kind of get her own treat and each kid gets their own thing?
Yeah, so just this year, Disney revamped their Snacks with Character line, and that's a full allergy line. And so everything in that line is gluten free, and then most of the items are dairy free, egg free, and soy free, and then they're all nut free. And so when we get to the parks, we oftentimes purchase those snacks with characters right off the bat. So, I've got a gluten-free Rice Krispie for one kid, I've got the regular Rice Krispie for the other kid, and that definitely helps. And then I think the other thing too is like, yeah, your kids are gonna whine. Like it's overstimulating. The weather can be
Oh
weird.
my gosh, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
people are loud. And I always joke like I have
Oh
to
yeah, they're whining for
other
they're
reasons.
whining for
Yeah.
other reasons than snacks.
Well, they're finding, they're uncomfortable about sitting in line. So like, okay, well, the next thing on the list is let's complain about the snack. I always joke that I have to pack extra patience. I'm like, where did that patience go? I forgot to pack it.
I know I packed it. Where is
I
it?
know it's got to be here
Put it
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yeah. So like, for example, there's gluten-free churros, and then there's the common churros. And we kind of talk about how we'll get the gluten-free churros are Animal Kingdom. So we go to Animal Kingdom to get the gluten-free churros and get the common churros so that way the kids can have churros at the same time. Or, within like 30 minutes of one another.
I love those churros.
Yes, so good.
The gluten-free churros are so good.
And you can order them from the bar.
Oh, good to know.
You can just do a walk-up. You don't have to have a reservation.
Okay, I'm going to have to do that because this ties into my little fun fact story. We've done this 2 times where we bought single passes for Flight of Passage, like one for me, one for my husband, and we do rider switch while eating at Nomad Lounge. We always forget how early Animal Kingdom closes. So we're vibing at Nomad Lounge, and I forget what we did the first time, but I think my husband went first to go ride. And while he was gone, I ordered the churros. And they kind of take a while. Just like a side note, the gluten-free churros like take a while for them to come up. And I always order them too late. I'm just having a great time eating my churros. He comes back and I go to ride Flight of Passage, and literally we missed it because the park was closed. And
Yes.
and I'm not kidding, we've done it 2 times. Like I'm walking towards Flight of Passage and I'm like, where is everyone going? Because I'm just living my best life in Animal Kingdom and completely forgot. And then the second time I rode first because I was still upset about missing mine. And then my husband missed his ride because we just,
Oh, so now
I
you're
don't
even.
know.
Yeah.
We're
Third time's
even,
the charm.
but I need to like a lot in my mind that Nomad Lounge is like, it's like this other dimension that we go into and we don't get out. I don't know.
You're by the water and it's so peaceful. And
I
it
know.
just
And the
sucks you up.
kids, we get those like little booths with the 3 sides,
Yeah,
and the
the
kids have like,
couches, yeah.
yes, and the kids are happy, and I don't know, time just goes out the window. We need to like rope drop Nomad Lounge next time. It's really funny.
Exactly.
I do want to ask you what your favorite treat is, but you mentioned the gluten-free chocolate cake at Wailulu, which sounds really good. Are there any other of like your favorite?
Yeah, so Wailulu, you need a reservation now. They just changed it. But the beignets.
I know. I'm actually kind of excited about that.
Oh, me too. I'm very excited. The beignets at Fort Orleans at Scat Cat's Lounge. Those are top 9 free, gluten-free, made in dedicated fryer, made in dedicated area. Those are fantastic. Aaron McKenna's at Disney Springs is a dedicated gluten-free and food allergy bakery. So I take my kids there every birthday, and we go a lot for holidays because we have a lot of holiday treats. I mentioned the Snacks with Character line is Disney's allergy line that you can find in the stores and shops. And then, of course, Dole Whip, because there's no gluten, dairy, egg, no soy. There's coconut oil, but most people don't have a reaction to that.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that Dole Whip's vegan. Isn't the popcorn vegan too? Like dairy-free? The popcorn?
It is. Yeah, it only has coconut oil.
That's awesome. I remember like finding that out and being very excited, even though I am not vegan. I feel like for the vegans out there or dairy-free, Dole Whip and popcorn, those are like my 2 favorite treats.
And they're so easy. They're so easy to find. Like
They're
they're
so
everywhere.
easy.
So yeah.
And then get the gluten-free churros at Nomad Lounge. Just look at the time and you'll be good.
Oh, and there's a gluten-free calamari in Epcot at what's the one in Morocco? The sit down?
Spice Road Table.
Yes, Spice Road Table.
Is that like the standard? Because I ate that and it was delicious, but I didn't know that it was gluten-free. Or is it like an option?
I think it's the standard because I've had it for the last 2 years. And they
Yum.
just use rice flour and a dedicated fryer. And yeah, because the kitchen's real small. So I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it's the standard option.
It was really good. I like Spice Road Table. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Now I feel better knowing that I wasn't having gluten that night. I was being so healthy. This was awesome. Thank you so, so much for coming on. And where can everyone find you?
Yeah, so I'm on all social media at Safe Disney Food, and then on my website, Safe Disney Food. And then, of course, I have guides for gluten-free and top 9 food allergies covering dairy, egg, soy, wheat, nuts, sesame, fish, and shellfish to make planning easier.
Amazing. And I'm going to have all of those linked in the show note description so everyone could go ahead and follow Seely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Laid Back Magic Way podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode and it was helpful for you, it would mean the world to me if you'd write a quick review. Your reviews help more moms like you find the show, and I read every single one of them. Seriously, thank you in advance. You can find me on Instagram at Somewhere Worthwhile, and I'd love to hear from you there. DM me if you have any questions about this episode or what you'd like to see in future ones. Until then, keep planning for your next favorite memory, and I'll see you next time.